we are on a mission, and our mission is to live by the Constitution and putting him first. They do need to think that these things that they're teaching children in our schools today, they really need to think about the facts, right? Let's live by the facts. This is a country that was founded on God. You can go back to the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and it does. They put him first. We are just trying to live by that.
When we started this program last year, we introduced you to that guy, Glenn Story. He's the one with the "In God We Trust" sign behind him. And he is the leader of a conservative Christian phone company that is literally taking the call to put God, or more specifically, an extreme far-right interpretation of Christianity, to put that back in schools. His company is contributing to a fringe conservative movement across North Texas. Its goal is to peddle extreme anti-LGBT conservative Christian ideology to public school students. The company has been trying to push a specific fringe Christian ideology that is increasingly popular on the far right. It's called dominionism. That is the belief that Christians are called on to dominate the 7 key mountains of American life, including business, media, government, and education. And so far, this company has been pretty successful. Through its Political Action Committee, it has managed to infiltrate North Texas school boards and, consequently, North Texas classrooms. NBC News correspondent Antonia Hilton went to Texas to talk with the students who are there dealing with the consequences.
In pockets of North Texas, students are worried about politics and religion creeping into their classrooms.
Even though we live in a conservative area, most kids are fine with learning about different identities, about learning about people of color and LGBTQ people.
It's frustrating, strange, and hypocritical to see the "In God We Trust" signs being put up everywhere, while at the same time books are being removed from our library shelves.
I think I've learned more about politics in the last year than I did my entire life.
More than you wanted to?
More than I wanted to. And now that is all I can see. In my school, all I can see is people pitted against each other.
Over the course of the last 2 years, school boards in the Grapevine, Colleyville, Southlake, and Keller school districts all passed sweeping policies, like restricting lessons on race, gender, and sexuality, the bathroom use of transgender students, and removing access to hundreds of books. Many of those school board members are being backed by a conservative Christian cell phone company, Patriot Mobile.
Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider.
Headquartered in Grapevine, they promise to donate some of their profits to GOP causes, and they run a political action committee called Patriot Mobile Action. One of their spiritual advisors, Pastor Rafael Cruz, is the father of GOP Senator Ted Cruz. He live streams Bible study sessions from their offices, encouraging Christians to run for local school board seats.
If the righteous are not running for office, if the righteous are not even voting, then what's left? The wicked electing the wicked.
Christian leaders have found success by focusing on school politics. One Texas evangelist and Patriot Mobile business partner, Lance Wallnow, recently claimed Christians played a secret role in the elections of the neighboring town of Southlake.
We did it in Southlake, Texas right now. 1,000 people went in and flooded, took over the school board, took over the city council, took over the mayor's office. Boom. You know who it was? Christians did it. The media doesn't know it because we never said it was a church initiative. We called it a community initiative.
In total, the PAC Patriot Mobile Action spent more than $600,000 supporting at least 14 Texas school board candidates in the last 2 years, according to campaign finance reports. Races that only a few years ago would have been mom and pop operations run with only a few $1,000s. Patriot Mobile hired a pair of GOP consulting firms that have worked on campaigns for Ted Cruz and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, bringing sophisticated national strategies to local school politics.
Do you believe that having biological males compete in women's sports?
North Texas Representative Nate Schatzline represents many of the families in the Keller School District. He's also a former pastor and runs a church-based nonprofit that works to get conservative Christians elected in these communities. On the first day of the last Texas legislative session this year, he led a prayer and worship service in the Texas Capitol. He shared some of the images on social media.
There's nothing more important that we could be doing than this right here, worshiping and praying in the middle of the Capitol.
Throughout the session, he talked about how his faith informed his politics. Schatzline and other conservatives voted to restrict drag performances and to hire religious chaplains as unlicensed mental health counselors in public schools. He spoke with NBC News for the new podcast Grapevine. Do you believe in the fundamental separation of church and state?
I believe that church and state in the Constitution, what was written about it was written to keep the state out of the church, not to keep the church out of the state.
That belief has pushed some teachers out of public education for good. Amanda Guthrie was an award-winning world history teacher in Grapevine before she quit halfway through last school year.
I think they want to defund public education, create a essentially segregated school system, and whether that be segregated by race or religion is unclear right now. I believe they want complete control over curriculums, and they ultimately want to create an uninformed and, I hate the term brainwashed, but manipulated voter base.
Our analysis of district data shows she was one of more than 160 staffers who resigned from her district by the end of the last school year.
They say that it was teachers like you who were doing the brainwashing and the indoctrinating. Is there any truth to that? Were there teachers while you were there pushing their political ideologies, talking about gender and sex in the classroom?
Absolutely not. We were trying to prepare our students, of course, for college success, but more pressingly for the AP exam at the end of the year. So I'd never discussed things that were outside of the realm of those standards. And I know that my coworkers didn't either.
The Grapevine, Colleyville, Southlake, and Keller school district leaders all declined interviews. But in an email, Grapevine Colleyville told NBC News, "We review all feedback and continuously look at how we can better serve and support our employees." Southlake's Carroll School noted, "As required by Texas law, we have policies and processes that respect parental rights and appropriately review curriculum." And Keller ISD saying, "We believe that mutual respect and dignity build unity."
In a time where the climate is so hostile and ever-changing, when's the next policy going to come? What have they just done now? It's nice to be able to find solace in just friends you can talk to.
I think the student communities that have sprung up make me optimistic because I've seen so many students stepping up as leaders and forming a community where people feel safe.